All right, I know we got a lively group in here. I know you guys. So good to see everybody here this morning. Well, good morning. My name is Kerry McCormick, and I have the privilege of serving Ward 3 on Cleveland City Council, which includes this momentous moment today in Hillside behind us that you're going to hear a lot about today. You are stuck with me today as your master of ceremonies, so my apologies in advance. Before I bring up some of our illustrious speakers here today, I want to give a couple shout outs of folks that are with us here today. First and foremost, can we please hear it for the Cleveland Rowing Foundation for hosting us here today? An incredible organization. I see our director in the back. An incredible organization right here in the city of Cleveland. Check them out if you don't know more about them. Where are our students from Davis? Are they still right there on the boat? Give a round of applause. Davis Aerospace and Maritime School, CMSD school right here that is bringing our kids and our young people to the water and aviation as well. A couple other guests to share with us today. Beju Shaw is here with the Greater Cleveland Partnership. Welcome, Beju. Absolutely. A critical partner in advocating at all levels of government for this project. Greg Peckham with Land Studio is here with us today. Director Patterson of CMHA. Director, this is huge for our residents of all backgrounds, but especially CMHA. I know we've got many faces here from the Cleveland Metro Parks, a partner that none of this could happen without. So if we could hear it for the Cleveland Metro Parks. I've got fellow council members with me here today. I see our Dean, Mike Polensik, that's here. Welcome, Councilman Polensik. State Senator Kent Smith is with us today too. Senator, good to see you. And last but definitely not least, Tom McNair of Ohio City Incorporated is with us here. Mayor, you made a great choice picking Tom as your next economic development director, but Tom has been the spine and integral person, the glue of bringing all these partners together for over a decade. So Tom, we thank you for that. All right, as we open up today and break ground on the Irishtown Bend Parkside, a huge momentous moment for not only the stabilization and critical navigation channels that you'll hear from the port, but for our entire community. 23-acre world-class riverfront park that is connecting residents and visitors of all different backgrounds to provide a safe and stable river channel and high-quality green space for our entire community to enjoy for many years to come. This is a big day, and our American courage is going right behind us to celebrate that. Our first speaker needs no introduction. Will Friedman, who is the Port of Cleveland president and CEO, the port playing a critical role from everything from the first groundbreaking to stabilize the hillside to the finished park in the years to come. The port has been a huge cheerleader. The port has been an organizer, bringing in contractors, advocating for dollars for the project from day one. Will, come on up and tell us more about the port.
Wow, great energy. Great to see everybody. Thank you, Councilman McCormick. We're so fortunate to have you as our council person here with your energy and your dedication. And I think you're competing with Executive Ronayne for the Being Everywhere All at Once award. So thank you so much for being here. Wow, it's been a long time coming to get to this day. 13 years, really since the first day I got into my job here, which was June of 2010. The team at the port was briefing me on lots of things, and they explained Irishtown Bend to me, and I said, we got to do something about this. Let's take it on, and that was the start. And 13 years later, here we are. And I just realized yesterday, because it's my birthday tomorrow and I'll be 62, I was 49 when this started. So I've gone from my 40s to my 60s, which is not necessarily a good thing. I want to just mention, and I got to be quick here because you can see this august group here behind me, and it's more important to hear from them. I want to just mention a couple of other folks here. Admiral John Hickey, commander of the 9th District Coast Guard. Where are you, Admiral? Please raise your hand. Right here, has joined us. Thank you, sir. If you don't know, 9th District, which is headquartered here in Cleveland, covers the whole Great Lakes. So, very important role. Could all the elected officials in the room, because I know I'm not going to be able to point you all out, could you please either stand or raise your hand? You all here, you know who you are, but anybody else who's an elected official in the room, just raise your hand so we can thank you. Thank you for being here. So I think my theme for the day is grateful, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But grateful that this hillside behind us is still intact, to be honest. Those of us who have heard the engineers talk about it many, many times, we don't sleep at night, especially when it rains heavily as it's done the last couple of nights. There is a very real risk and threat that we are beginning to avert today. And I know when you look at it, you think, oh, that looks stable to me. It's not. There's things going on underground, and there's conditions there that are a real threat to jobs. 4.7 billion in annual economic impact associated with commerce up and down this river and in our harbor. You just saw the American Courage go by as, perfect timing, a perfect example of that. More than 22,000 jobs in our community, many of them very, very good paying jobs. So it's important that we fix this problem, take it on, which we've done together as a community, and then we can all benefit from it when it's completed and we have a chance to start working on the wonderful park. So I said that I was going to talk about Grateful a little bit, and some of those who know me know that I like the Grateful Dead. And I was determined to work them into this speech, so I'm going to do it. So you're thinking, what do they have to do with Irishtown Bend? Anything to do with my job? Well, those of us who are kind of deadheads, we sort of like tie everything back to the Grateful Dead somehow. I don't know. It's just something we do. But the reason I bring them up is that, first of all, grateful is in the name, of course. And we're so grateful for all the help we've had and the collaborations and the amazing group of people who work together to get this thing done. So that's a tie-in right there. Persevering, if you follow the band, they just kept going and going and going. In fact, they're still going in one iteration or another. So they certainly understand persevering, and we all had to persevere to get here today. Improvising, they're known to be improvisers. We had to improvise to get this done, all of us. We'd run into an obstacle, we'd have to figure out how to go around it, and we did. And then, of course, collaborating and working together as a community. There's in sort of the deadhead world, there is a real community, and that's what I feel here. I also want to give some mention here to the port board. When we started this, I came in and I said, boy, we should work on Irishtown Bend, we should work on dredging and dredge material management, we should work on maintenance of the ship channel and the harbor, which had really not been a focus of the port previously. But we didn't have the money, we didn't know what any of it was going to cost, and we didn't really know what the problem was here because we hadn't done the investigative work yet. So it was a real leap of faith for the board to give us the green light and allow us to move forward. So it took a lot of courage, took guts, took risk-taking, and that's awfully important, and I wanted to make mention of that. So, community, nobody could have gotten this done alone. No organization, nobody could have done this done alone. So I want to just run through some people's names and some organizations' names very quickly, some of whom you've already heard, but that's okay. Senator Sherrod Brown, Senator Brown, you were here, I think, in 2011 on this riverfront, and really kicked this off. And so happy you could be here today. You've been our champion, and no way we'd be here without you. So thank you so much, Mayor Bibb and your administration and your team. Since we've been working with you, fantastic. Thank you so much for your partnership in this. Council President Blaine Griffin and all the members of the City Council, some of whom are here, thank you so much. County Executive Chris Renane and the entire County Council, thank you. Director Jack Marchbanks, Director of Ohio Department of Transportation, is up here. We're really glad he could join us today. ODOT's been a key partner in this. After all, this is a transportation project. This is transportation infrastructure. You saw that ship. This is one of our important marine highways here in the state of Ohio. Grace Gallucci, Executive Director and CEO of NOACA. We would not be here today without Grace. And from the very first time we spoke about this project, she's been just committed and there for us, and has brought a very significant chunk of the funding. Kyle Dreyfus-Wells, CEO of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and her team. You're going to hear from Kyle here in a moment. If you don't know it, there's really important sewer district infrastructure embedded in this hill that was also at risk, and we're so happy we could have partnered with the sewer district to address that issue at the same time. Tom McNair is right here, who's moving up in the world. The partnership with Ohio City Incorporated, he's still currently Executive Director of Ohio City Incorporated, and a key partner, Greg Peckham with Land Studio, wherever Greg is here, I know he's here, I saw him, there he is, with Land Studio, another of the key partners. Brian Zimmerman couldn't be here, but thanks to him and the whole Metro Parks team for their involvement, and I know they'll have ongoing involvement. All the engineering and the technical construction professionals who investigated and figured out what this problem was and designed the fix and are going to build it. Big thank you to all of you. I know you're hardworking and excited to get moving on this. I mentioned, of course, my board of directors. You're going to hear from our chair, Stephen Holmes, here in a moment, and I'm not sure I saw other board members come in yet, but in any event, as I mentioned, they were incredibly foresighted to give us the latitude we needed to keep moving on this project when, might have been easier to just say, oh, it looks like we can't get there from here. The port team, the port staff, thank you to all of you. There's many of them here, and they all do a fantastic job, and we're a very small organization, and we get a lot done with a small number of people. I want to thank Nancy Lessick, who's here, who helped us organize this event and does PR assistance for the port. Great job. This turned out fantastic. And thanks to the Rowing Foundation for making this site available to us. It's perfect, and very much appreciated for that. Finally, I want to thank Linda Sternheimer, who is on the port team. Where is Linda? There she is, right there. Who's led this effort for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years now, I think. 9, okay. Well, she's done a great job. Many of you probably know Linda. She speaks softly, but don't let that fool you. Talk about persevering and getting the job done. That's exactly what she's done. So thank you very much, Linda. I'm going to close with a quote from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who was president of Liberia, the first woman head of state in Africa. And she said, the size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. So let's keep on dreaming here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Will. And we've all been at this longer than we think we have. So thank you, Will. Really appreciate those comments. A couple other people to mention. Mira Cardenas of Canalway Partners is with us today. And Karen Kandinsky is also with us here today, formerly with Senator Rob Portman's office, who showed up in bike gear and biked the towpath with the former chair, county executive who's sitting behind me, and was critical in securing funding. So thank you, Senator Portman, and for that as well. The next speaker we all know very well, a true champion for the state of Ohio, a city of Cleveland resident, a person that's fingertips is all over all types of different progress here in the state of Ohio, but that was integral in ensuring that the towpath had what it needed, integral in ensuring that the Great Lakes restoration funding was in place, and helped with Senator Portman secure millions of dollars of federal funding for this project, Cleveland's own and our champion, Senator Sherrod Brown.
Terry, thank you, and Will. I've been to a lot of events around Ohio. You got to come to the Flats to hear a Jerry Garcia Grateful Dead themed event. So all these years, and thank you for bringing it full circle. So Mayor, good to see you. Grace, thank you. President Griffin, good to see you. Wherever you went, back here, thank you. Long time coming. Cleveland, as Kerry said, I live in this city. I love to brag about Cleveland around the country. I love to say we have the best orchestra, the best art museum, more stage space than any place outside New York City. Just this week, honored a big event at the Cleveland Foundation, the first city foundation in the country in all that we do in this city. And there's so much to brag about. And thank you for making that happen, Jeff and Ernie. But Jeff, when we did our event with Marcia Fudge, the new secretary, relatively new secretary of HUD, the event we did at RTA, bringing $200 million to this city, to that transit system. The newest rail cars we had, the only system in the state that has trains, that has buses and trains. The newest train we had was 40 years old. We got $200 million, Mayor, right, to rebuild those cars, walking through that bus garage and seeing the union workers there and what they're doing. I talked to a group of workers back in sort of the corner of the garage, and they were saying that they can't find spare parts on a 40-year-old train, so they machine these spare parts over in the corner. Thank you for cheering for that. I appreciate that. They celebrate, as we do. You didn't know that at first. They were cheering for union workers. You understood that, right? So thank you. Carrie didn't mention this. My wife and I live about 200 yards from the Metro Parks, and it's just south of Slavic Village in Cleveland. So this is just such a great city, and a big part of it is electing the right people. Electing this mayor, electing this county executive, electing the legislators, and even electing Polensik again. Sorry, you have that hat on. I didn't see you, man. Electing plain, all of that. But it's also Marcia Fudge and where she ended up. And all of this has happened since 2021. A big part of this it was beginning, the foundation was built for all of this, but how we were able to do these in the last 2 or 3 years because of electing the right people who understand the importance of our urban core, understand that the economic growth in this state and in this country, not entirely, and we've got to do better, much of it comes out of metro areas, and how important it is. It's also a recognition that union workers during this construction, union workers earning the prevailing wage is always front and center in the administration and the Senate and many in the House, and certainly with the county exec and the mayor, and how important that is. It's important for Ohio companies like Cleveland Cliffs, now just called Cliffs, that depend on Great Lake shipping lanes. It's connecting communities. It's doing all the things that we care about, emphasizing the dignity of work in our community. It's all locally driven. These ideas didn't really come, I live here, but these ideas didn't come from me. They came from people like Ernie and Jeff and Blaine and the mayor and Grace coming to us with, what do you need? What can we do to make this city more livable, to make this city more successful, to make this city more vital? That's really the story here. We'll continue to work for what used to be called earmarks for some reason. that term is discredited. I never really understood that. We call it congressionally directed spending. That means you come to me with an idea. We work through that. We go to other members of the House and Senate and are able, not every time, but to deliver for Cleveland, deliver for Greater Cleveland and Northeast Ohio and the whole state. It's a long time we've wanted to make this happen. Irishtown Bend is an historic place. We're going to make it bigger and better because of the efforts of so many of you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Senator. Elected the 58th mayor of the city of Cleveland, Mayor Justin Bibb came into office committing to big ideas and bold change for the residents of the city of Cleveland. What a great example behind us in this incredible project. Advocating for millions of dollars of funding for the project and connecting all Clevelanders within 15 minutes to high-quality green space as some of his key initiatives. Mayor?
Thank you so much. It's so good to be introduced by my councilman, Karen McCormick. And I gotta say, it's so great to have a senator and Sherrod Brown who wakes up every day fighting for Clevelanders in Washington, D.C. Thank you, Senator Brown, for your continued leadership. I truly believe as we celebrate this historic milestone and the future of our great city, it's important that we reflect on the moments that got us here. The leader who got us here, the late, great Carl B. Stokes, a mayor who probably didn't anticipate when he was mayor that the river would catch on fire. And as I've learned over the last year and 8 months that I've been mayor of this great city, the best moments of leadership are the moments you don't predict, the moments you don't campaign on. And Carl Stokes showed not just great leadership in our city, but he showed courageous national leadership by taking the fight to clean our river and clean the nation's rivers all across the country, which led to the Clean Water Act, which then led to the EPA. That's the history that we stand on today. And to see young people from communities that Carl B. Stokes grew up in, that Council President grew up in, that I grew up in, young people from those neighborhoods now want to join the maritime industry from CMSD. That's what today is all about. And there was a lot of work that went into this. A lot of money. The city put over nearly $8 million in this effort, but also a lot of sweat equity, a lot of emails and Zoom calls. But today is also an amazing symbol of what can happen when the public and private sector come together and do great things for our city and our region. So let's give everybody who made this day possible another round of applause as well, too. And so I'm not just excited about today, but I'm excited about the next generation for our great city. I was just talking to my new friend, Rudy. He's here with his wife. They're celebrating 60 years of marriage this year, by the way. Let's give them a round of applause. They were telling me their story about how they got to Cleveland from Germany. They came as immigrants to our community to start their version of the American dream. And as they were greeting friends here a couple weeks ago from Germany, they were so impressed and proud of how vibrant, how dynamic, and how hopeful Cleveland was. And the thing they told me was, they said, Mayor, you know, our friends in Germany haven't really heard about Cleveland. I said, well, today is going to show you that that day is going to change right now. And so let's show the nation and the world that we are a two-waterfront city from our great riverfront to Lake Erie, that we can be a globally competitive city because of the great work we're doing to bring back America's North Coast right here in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's keep pushing. Let's get to work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor, and stop calling me about potholes in your neighborhood. All righty. Cuyahoga County is a critical player in this work, and what better person to lead our regional government than a longtime advocate for trails and green space, the former chair of Canal Way, and a city planner at heart. Chris Ronayne has been integral not only in this project, but in green space and public access projects across the region. Mr. Executive.
Thank you, Councilman McCormick. Good to be in your ward and your neighborhood. Okay, folks, what's the over-under on you making your lunch appointments? All right. Anyways, thank you for being here. And to everybody behind me, everybody in front of me, it's a team effort. We are all in together on this. I want to start by saying it's an honor to be a government that actually has Cuyahoga in its name, the Cuyahoga River in the name of Cuyahoga County. And unless Mayor Bocci is here from Cuyahoga Heights, we're your government that has Cuyahoga. And I want you guys to love this river. Mayor White, Mayor Bibb's predecessor, thrice removed, used to say, love this city. And I want to say to you, love this river. It is the place that binds us all in this city, Mayor, in your city, and Council President. It is the place that has brought us out together over all these years. So if Will had a theme, and I'm not going to go too deep on the Grateful Dead, I'll go to a different theme, but I will say the night that your favorite band with the band leader, when he died, Jerry Garcia, Clevelanders came together, Will, and had a drum circle out at what is today Canal Basin Park in his honor. The river brings people together. Look at our past, our present, and our future. This is a river that brought, first of all, I think we all need to always honor the indigenous peoples that lived here, our natives that lived right across the bank. And frankly, we let them down as a nation. The Treaty of Greenville actually divided the country, and east of this river at the river line, midline, was the United States. We had a treaty with our native brothers and sisters to keep our side of the river, but we went in a different direction on that. I won't get too far into that, but I always want to honor Native Americans who were here first in this river valley. I want to honor those who came before us. You know, this river has brought together the entire mosaic of Cleveland, 120 different ethnic communities strong. I won't go through them all, but I will say we should honor those who built the canal. Mayor, you know this, the Irish, the German, folks who come from other places and helped build the canal that really launched an industrial America. We should honor African Americans who came to the river in the Great Migration to work in our mills, our factories. We should honor newcomers, new immigrants who've come to this place, in this place that binds all of us together, the Cuyahoga River. I'm so glad Mayor Bibb brought up Mayor Carl Stokes. I won't belabor that, but I will double down with him that we owe so much to the Stokes brothers. Sherrod's colleagues and predecessors, we owe so much to a man who stood up and fought the good fight for us, and that was the last river burning under the Carl Stokes administration, and he and Lou went to work exactly as the mayor said. We're going to honor them with a Freshwater Institute, Mayor, and already we've had great support from Congresswoman Brown, Senator Brown, to help us bring a Freshwater Institute that teaches kids about fresh water, that teaches kids about their future, that brings in the story of Carl Stokes in a place that they can be proud of a mayor in their city that fought for their future. I want to say to our students at Aerospace Maritime High School, Davis Aerospace Maritime High School, thank you for the ride to my State of the County speech. I rode the river with them. Love you guys. They're cleaning up the river every day. Thank you. Captain Drew Ferguson, you're doing a great job with the students. They are literally, as summer jobs, cleaning up this river. That's our future, is actually waterborne economy. So in the present, look how much we've done. It's already been said. It can't be said enough. The partners who've come together, our CDC directors, Tom McNair, we thank you. And Jim Haviland and the Flats, we thank you. We thank the Metro Parks. I know a commissioner that was once a commissioner, Debbie Berry's here today. The incredible work you've done. Canal Basin Park is about to open. Mira Cardenas, thank you. And for what you did in the last miles of the towpath. Think about the present. You could take a ride from here through a national park, and if you kept going, you find yourself to Akron and all the way to Zor. But let's talk now about the future. That same ride, because of what we're doing with this stabilization plan in the future Irishtown Bend Park, we'll get that same rider from south of the national park, through the national park, through these parks to the lake. And I love the mayor's vision for green spaces in our city. This is the tie that binds us in our future. So yes, we are going to be focused on placemaking, but we're also going to be focused on the value proposition of our Cuyahoga River and our Great Lake Erie. Love this river. Let's leverage fresh water. We are lucky. We are the lucky ones who live on 20% of the world's fresh water supply and 90% of North America. We don't revel in climate migration that is going to happen here. We should prepare for it. We should build an economy around it. We should build our infrastructure around it. And we should be ready to be the most competitive region in the world because of where we sit with the stewardship obligation to keep the fresh waters clean. I've sat through so many conferences with this tireless leader and Senator Brown here on the river. He's helped us keep it clean. He's helped us with the port. He's helped us with what was then ArcelorMittal and now Cliffs. what you saw just before this conference opened is critical. Shipping, business, navigation doesn't happen if this slope isn't stabilized. So yes, it's about a park. Yes, it's about placemaking. Yes, it's about industry. But most importantly, this is about to be delisted, thanks to Carl Stokes and so many more, as an area of concern by the US EPA. When that happens, we should have a big party, and it's coming soon. When this river, like the Ashtabula River, is delisted as an area of concern after over 50 years of being an area of concern, many more than 50 years, let's celebrate our fresh water in the Cuyahoga River. Today, with the stabilization, the $60 million that's going into that is a great step in that process. But it's going to get even better if we focus on the Cuyahoga River and Great Lake area being in the freshwater capital. Love your river. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to recognize Congressman Max Miller's office is here with us today, so thank you for being here with us. The next person I'd like to bring to the stage is a person who started a year and a half ago hitting the ground running as the leader of the legislative branch of the city of Cleveland. You know, as my colleague Mike Plensick can tell you, usually we go to the council president and advocate for whatever we need in our wards. I will tell you that Blaine Griffin came to me and said, tell me about Irishtown Bend and what do we need to do to get it done? So not only has Blaine been an unapologetic champion for our neighborhoods, he is also a force behind the support on council for those dollars and other support given and provided for Irishtown Bend. Mr. President.
Thank you to my colleague and majority leader, my right-hand person, my go-to guy on Cleveland City Council, Kerry McCormick. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of the dignitaries on the dais today. Before I go any further, I do want to acknowledge former council president and current county council person, Martin Sweeney, if he could raise his hand as well. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great day in Cleveland. I have no choice but to sit here and feel good about what I'm seeing today. I mean, this is really an exciting moment for us to be on the banks of this crooked river and really to just have alignment. That's what comes to mind today, unity and alignment. This river, this crooked river, represents so much of Cleveland, but it actually used to, as Chris said, which is so dynamic, used to be a river that divided us. Most people thought you couldn't go west of the river, you couldn't go east of the river. But now we're here today to show that we can go to the river and make sure that we all can come together as a community. I also see alignment around what I always call a triple bottom line. A social impact by having strong recreation with this park that we're going to have. As the mayor said, we put forth $8 million in Rescue Recovery Act dollars and other money to really be innovative to make sure that we have a good park here. And yes, Tom McNair came to us and advocated to bury those ugly power lines that you see there, and we are actually going to do that, thanks to those investments. This is also a major economic driver. It was actually exciting to see the tugboat bringing the American courage through here to really show how important commerce is to this process and really working on the business side of this. It's also important to look at the environment. There was a time you couldn't fish here. There was a time you couldn't swim here. Now you see recreation, you see people enjoying the river, and you see so much activity happening here. It's going to be about equity. When we have CMHA, that's right across where you see Riverview, that has approximately, I believe, 425 units or more, so Director Patterson, that will now have eventually a bridge that will connect them to be able to come here so that they can enjoy the river and have access to the river, so that the river is everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually got to tell you a personal note. My beautiful granddaughter literally stays 2 blocks up the street, and I look forward to the day that I get a chance to walk her down here and tell her about this day when we kicked off this beautiful river project in the city of Cleveland and how Cleveland came together and showed alignment from the public, private, and philanthropic sector, because we also don't want to forget what Mandel Foundation did in investing in this as well, came together to make the river a destination that everybody can enjoy in the city of Cleveland. On behalf of all the Cleveland City Council, my colleagues and myself, we really appreciate the opportunity to invest in this, and this is Cleveland. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Derek Schaefer from West Creek, a critical partner in securing the land at Irishtown Bend. If we could hear it for him. While her name has never been on a ballot, well, not that I'm aware of, there are a few other people in Northeast Ohio that are responsible to ensuring that our community gets the funding, support, and planning services that it needs across Northeast Ohio. Grace Gallucci is the Executive Director and CEO of NOACA and a critical partner in securing the funding and advocating for this critically important infrastructure project. Grace.
I'm not aware of being on a ballot either, so I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit off because I've been thinking about the Grateful Dead and how to introduce my favorite bands into this, and I haven't been able to do it. But I do think of things like Gordon Lightfoot, the Ballad of the Edmund Fitzgerald, right? I think about the 70s, like Do the Hustle. I mean, there's lots of things we could bring into this, but I'm going to let Will have the Grateful Dead and go from there. So good morning. This is a really exciting day for Northeast Ohio. The NOACA board is very proud to have been a part of this project, and I'm here representing them on this momentous day. NOACA has been involved in many, many large collaborative projects. Our middle name is coordinating, after all. But breaking ground on this project is especially meaningful, as it is for many of you. From the beginning, the NOACA board recognized that this is not just a City of Cleveland project, it's not just a Cuyahoga County project, it's a Northeast Ohio project. It's a regionally significant project, and it needed the funding and the support of the regional agency. The project truly exemplifies the importance of regional cooperation and working across the 5 counties of NOACA to solve a problem and create new opportunities that will benefit the Northeast Ohio region, and in fact, even the entire state of Ohio. When we first started working on Irishtown Bend, I was here at that first press conference that we did here. And then one of the very next things we did is we had a president of the NOACA board who was a Medina County commissioner. You would not think a Medina County commissioner might be that attached to the Cuyahoga County, or to the, you've got me saying it now, the Cuyahoga River. But there is a lot of economic development around the region that absolutely relies on the river. And not only was he a Medina County commissioner, he was a businessman that ran a plant in Lorain County that was reliant on the steel coming through the river. He went to Washington with me to absolutely advocate for the funding for this project as a regional project. That's what the NOACA board is all about. Truly regional collaboration. Regardless of where you come from, the 5 counties or the city of Cleveland, we are all Northeast Ohioans. And it's really important to remember that. It's also important to remember that this is a transportation project. You know, we all tend to think about transportation in terms of roads, bridges, public transit, bikeways. But our region is fortunate enough to have a navigable river that connects the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway, supporting our economy and improving the quality of life in the region. We all know the importance of this project for protecting jobs. Stabilizing the hillside protects marine corridor that supports over 20,000 jobs and over $4 billion of local economy. These are good-paying steel industry jobs in Northeast Ohio, manufacturing jobs throughout Ohio with the supply chain, and even mining jobs outside of the state. This project and subsequent improvements to Irishtown Bend will also provide Northeast Ohioans with a more equitable access to the Cuyahoga River, which for too long has been denied to local residents, even those that live nearby and can literally look out their window and see the river. So for economic, environmental, and quality of life reasons, I'm proud of the fact that the NOACA board, again, representing its 5 counties and the city of Cleveland, has consistently and wholeheartedly supported this effort, providing nearly half of the overall funding for this project. Our funding comes from the federal government. So again, I'd like to acknowledge Sherrod Brown, our senator, and all of our congressional delegation. We've got a terrific delegation from Northeast Ohio in being able to bring us those federal dollars to allocate. We had received a $9 million infra grant. We were able to allocate $12 million in CRISA funds, and then other funds that are locally allocated such as transportation alternatives program funds. We've also committed additional funds to further develop Phase 2. What is Phase 2? That's to complete the Lake Link Trail to provide equitable bike and pedestrian connections to the larger network of the transportation infrastructure, starting with the Red Line Greenway and the Towpath Trail. So to wrap this all up, today represents a culmination of years of hard work and collaboration amongst so many people and organizations. Thank you all for being such great partners in this effort. I especially want to thank Will Friedman and the Port, and Will and Linda both, who have done so much to bring us all together and help navigate this to its finish line. I do want to finally thank the NOACA board, again, for its unwavering support, but more importantly, for its vision to support this project, recognizing it as a regionally significant project. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And we're just making sure you're nice and hungry for that lunch appointment. Kyle Dreyfus-Wells is the CEO of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, a critical agency ensuring that you and I have clean water in Lake Erie and the Cuyahoga River, an organization that has invested millions of dollars in the Irishtown Bend hillside project, and also an organization that has the best Twitter account on the internet. Kyle?
Thank you, Councilman. It's great to be with everyone today. I'm Kyle Dreyfus-Wells. I'm the CEO of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. And as we have heard this morning, partnerships brought us here, a collaboration between partners determined to find, fund, and forge ahead with a solution. And I am excited to see the results, and I'm so proud that the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District is part of this work. So at the core of this project is water and infrastructure, and that has been the focus of the sewer district for 50 years. We heard a lot about the history of the Cuyahoga River, and that is really the history of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, as we protect public health and water quality for over 1 million people across 363 square miles of the Lake Erie watershed. So here's the deal, folks. Under the Irishtown Bend slope sits the westerly low-level interceptor. I challenge you to drop that into cocktail party conversation tonight. The westerly low-level interceptor, this sewer pipe built in the 1940s, serves customers on the west side of the river and Scranton Peninsula and is critical to protecting the Cuyahoga River from combined sewage. So without this pipe, there is no sewage treatment for this entire area. And as we stand here today, 185 feet of this pipe is being slowly crushed by the gradual failure of this hillside. If you're an engineer in this room, you're looking at this hillside and you're just basically sitting here crossing your fingers. So it's being slowly crushed as the sewer district definitely has plans in place. We have temporary fixes in place. We regularly monitor the situation. We've installed backup pumping in the event there is a slope failure, but we need a permanent fix. And that is why we are so supportive of this work. So as we kick off this project, it is a great reminder that at the heart of all the amenities that we enjoy, solid functioning infrastructure is a necessity. And that is done through the continued investment in all of our region's pipes, streams, plants, pump stations, and the great people that make it all work. And as we're in these last 2 days of wetter, warmer, wilder weather, please thank your local infrastructure worker, because they have been up all night cleaning catch basins and making sure that the system continues to move. And I'll just tell you, it's been a crazy couple of days. So thanks again for being part of this wonderful work, and congratulations to all of you for this wonderful groundbreaking. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to do, whether you're having a beer at Hoople's or sitting out at the park, is watching the commerce and the large vessels going up and down the Cuyahoga River. Listen, we're all excited about the 23-acre park, but we cannot forget the importance for commerce and shipping that this river holds every single day. Please welcome James Weekly, the Lake Erie, with the Lake Carriers Association.
Thank you. I represent the Lake Carriers Association, 14 companies operating 44 vessels, like Mark Barker with Interlake Steamship and Dave Grove with Vending Port Tug on Barge. Together, Our American-owned, American-built, and American-crewed vessels serve as the pilot light for North American manufacturing. We connect the mines and the mills, the raw materials that feed our infrastructure and our North American manufacturing base. I also represent the Great Lakes Maritime Task Force, 80 organizations. I say organizations on purpose because that includes labor unions like the ILA, the Longshoremen's Association, shipyards like Great Lakes Towing, mills and mines like Cleveland Cliffs, and ports like the Port of Cleveland. If there's one thing we've learned in the past few years, it's that supply chains matter. Supply chains are very complicated systems. The two things they need more than anything else are reliability and resiliency. Something that we've always known but too often ignored is that jobs matter. Not just my job, not just your job, other people's jobs. The Great Lakes Navigation System supports 241,000 jobs. Of those, 147,000 jobs are right here in the United States of America. That system annually moves 135 million tons of cargo worth $26 billion. It generates economic activity of $36 billion and wages of $17.8 billion, and equally important, pays $6.3 billion in taxes. Locally in Cleveland, you've heard that the Port of Cleveland or the Cleveland Navigation System generates 22,000 jobs, $4.7 billion in economic activity, $1.8 billion in taxes, and yes, $1.8 billion in wages, and yes, $240 million in taxes. Those jobs matter. But not just those jobs. According to a Department of Homeland Security study, if the steel manufacturing supply chain were disrupted by a mere 6 months, 11 million Americans, I'll say that again, 11 million Americans will be unemployed. 3 to 5 million Mexicans and Canadians will quickly lose their jobs. North America will be plunged into an economic recession that is supply-based, not financially based. The Fed can do nothing to solve that crisis. That's why resiliency and reliability matter to every supply system. I want to close by saying congratulations and thank you. Congratulations and thank you to all the elected officials that made this happen. I want to say congratulations and thank you because today is the first step in protecting those jobs. Not just the 22,000 here in Cleveland, but those 11 million jobs that Cleveland Cliffs makes possible by supplying our manufacturers with steel that they can use in automotive, that they can use in heavy equipment, they can use in appliances. We're protecting our jobs here today. We're ensuring system reliability. Failure of this hillside would be catastrophic to anything upriver. It would take months. Steel would stop being manufactured in Cleveland, and that supply chain, if not completely disrupted, would certainly be challenged. Jobs matter. Supply chains matter. I also want to congratulate the Port of Cleveland for their leadership, their tenacity. This was not easy. Will, to you and your staff, well done. So let's keep our manufacturing pilot light burning brightly, today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you. The Ohio Department of Transportation is a key partner in rebuilding our infrastructure across Ohio, not just here in Irishtown Bend, but in roads, bridges, and other infrastructure across the state of Ohio. We are very thankful for their support of this project. Please welcome Jack Marchbanks, the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation.
Well, this afternoon, now I'll be real quick. I want to bring you greetings on behalf of Governor Mike DeWine and Lieutenant Governor John Husted, and thank you for the opportunity to help celebrate this terrific occasion that's only made possible by the strong collaboration and willful persistence of many partners, as Kyle talked about. To quickly summarize our cultural points of reference, did my thesis on Carl Stokes administration, and I heard Al Green sing "Take Me to the River" over at the Cleveland Brown Stadium back in '95 when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened. I really care for Cleveland. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for a Clevelander by the name of George Victor Voinovich, who brought me to the Department of Transportation way back in the 90s. I want to recognize some of our partners. Again, as we pointed out, this is a partnership. The state of Ohio is represented by, of course, the Department of Transportation, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. I think we have a representative there. And of course, Ohio Public Works Commission, I see Linda Bailiff. She used to work at ODOT. We train them well. And we also have the Lake Erie Commission represented here. So again, this facility is so economically vital to Ohio and our region. $5 billion of economic activity essential to Ohio. And again, we're very excited that it will create this green space for economically disadvantaged neighborhood and people who don't often have access to green space. I also wanted to say, I see some other people. I forgot some of my folks. My ODOT people, I see Randy Lane, our maritime guy, Myron Pakush, Mike Kubik, and John Pacuri are all here. I didn't want to overlook them. And speaking of Randy Lane, we are kicking off an Ohio maritime plan in lockstep with our port partners. I was just elected the president of the Mid-American Association of State Transportation Officials. When you're elected president, you get to pick, the themes that the 10-state region, all bordering the Great Lakes, that great freshwater reservoir you talked about. Our emphasis, my emphasis at the Ohio Department of Transportation is going to be on ports and rivers. And ports, this port is a critical aspect of our transportation system. As NOACA CEO Grace Galucci pointed out, transportation is more than roads and bridges. It's also maritime. Again, we are so excited for this project, and I want to thank everyone for all the hard work that they put in to make this project possible, this success possible, and we look forward to our continued partnership with our friends here in the great city of Cleveland.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. And I want to recognize Brian Zimmerman from the Cleveland Metro Parks, who's joined us. We gave you a shout out earlier, Brian. Good to see you. So, to bring us home, I'd like to welcome up my friend, someone who rivals anybody on his legacy of service to this community, not only in the city of Cleveland, but across the region. The chair of the Ports Board of Directors and chair of pretty much every other board, I feel like, in the city of Cleveland. But please welcome Stefan Holmes.
Well, good afternoon. I don't have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame story or tie-in, but I promise you I will be short. What can be said? I'm sitting here and we've had, 12 speakers, and they all had prepared remarks. And I was very pleased and really astounded that they didn't really refer to them. They were speaking from the heart. And that really speaks to all of you being here today. This is special. It's a special occasion. And I have the great part, so I won't be long. But I will bring home, for me, you wouldn't know, but I went to my 50th high school reunion a couple of days ago. And 51 years ago, they told me, and I do remember, we were the first relay team state champion for Lutheran High School East in Cleveland Heights. You wouldn't know it today. But I ran anchor on that team. And it kind of brought it home today because this was a relay that started, as you heard Will say, over 15 years ago. And, the last anchor leg of any project is always tough because you're either a little bit ahead or a little bit behind usually. And thanks to Chris and his leadership of the port, we were a little ahead until I came on board. And as you all know, there were some hiccups and some litigation that took place right at the end of this race. And 5 o'clock in the morning calls, 11:30 at night calls. I want to say thank you to my wife Pam for listening. She says I never ever say anything, about her publicly, but I want to say publicly, thank you, Pam. Because the staff was wonderful. It's really, everybody says it, but pound for pound, there's nobody better in what they are faced with every single day. There's nobody better in cooperation, not only with the board, but other entities in the public. And I'm just proud to be their leader and anchor for this project right now. So without further ado, because I see the food is waiting and I can hear some stomachs responding, this is the great part. And I'm going to ask you to all take a part in it very shortly. But before I do, I want to call Derek Schaefer from West Creek Conservancy. Derek, come forward. Tom McNair, come forward. Iowa City Incorporated. Greg Peckham from Land Studio, please come forward. Step this way. This is going to be participatory, so you got to listen and move fast. Because Brian, I'm glad you're here. Where are you, Brian? Dimmerman, yeah, come on forward. He has a tie on today. That's why I didn't recognize you, Tom. So, good to see you. And Linda Sternheimer from the Port of Cleveland. Linda, please come forward. Oh, come up to the stage, please. You've heard them referenced, but I just wanted you to see their faces. We talk about relay team. This is a bad team here. These are the folks that brought us to where we are today. They ran the final leg. Well, I should say they're running the final leg because it won't be over until another couple of years. But we're on that final leg, and I just want to say thank you to contributing to this a great historic day, and to what you've heard everybody say it, but it's very, very true. Without this team and without you in the audience, I can't imagine what this would be. And what it could have been. We'd have been making CNN and everybody else for different reasons if we haven't all come together to make this a priority and get it done. So thank you. Hey, Nancy, where are you? Come back. We're not done. So you don't listen. I didn't say leave. I just said, just a second. I asked for Nancy. Come back up here. What we do have for you and others as a memento of this day. So yeah, I will be visiting your offices. I'd like to see it displayed prominently. Nancy, how do you want to do this? Just okay. She says a quick photo and move on. I take my directions. You say my wife, then Nancy, so we can.
We'll share it every 6 months. We gotta get the mayor one, but we'll get it. No worries. Oh, they do. All right. They got more.
You get a sign.
Shout out to the rowers out here today, by the way, all these rowers. I don't, I got
you. Okay, I told you this is going to be participatory, so I need you all to pay attention now. What I'd like to do is, before I call Captain Sam and Aiden of the Flotsam and Jetsam to kick us off, I'd like for all of you to stand up. I'd like for those who cannot see the top of the hill to move outside. Please look to the top of the hill. You're seeing the first earth being moved on Irishtown Bend. So in 2 years, we'll invite you back. But really, thank you all for coming today. Don't forget, we do have refreshments for you. Please take part. And again, thank you from our hearts for being a part of this very momentous occasion. Give yourselves a round of applause.